Overrated or underrated? Drake versus Kendrick and Metro and Future and Rick Ross and J. Cole and
A$AP Rocky
and Kanye West. Speedrunning the underground. Ian and Laserdym 700.
I feel like there's so many levels to the underground at this point.
This is like the flip side of the industry plan. Welcome back, everybody, to the Soul Serum podcast. I am your Eat Your Rice and Your Cabbage Too host, Clay Bonine. I am joined by my He'll Run Through Somebody co-host, Neal Singh. Welcome to the podcast, Neal. I think this is your first official co-hosting. Is that right?
This is very true, yes.
We did some Patreon podcasts in the past with you on there, but I don't think we've done any official ones. So happy to have you here. I'm glad you could join us. And let's just get right into it, man. Today on the pod, I wanted to cover a wide range of topics. You know, it's been a while, so I want to just do some quick hitters. So what better way to do that than a game of overrated or underrated? So, Neal, I have 6 topics related to the hip-hop scene right now. Hip-hop, you've heard of that before, right?
Just a little bit, yes.
Okay, good. I didn't ask you before this, so I'm glad to hear that you're at least familiar with it. I'll pose these 6 topics to you, and we can hash out our thoughts over whether or not we think these things are overrated or underrated. Sound good?
Let's get it.
Okay, cool. Now, some of these I already have opinions on. Some of these I have like half-baked opinions on. So let's start here because I think this is one of the funnier ones. Actually, no. Let me take that back. We're gonna start with this one. This I feel like we have to talk about this in the same way that like whenever LeBron James does something, ESPN they're like, LeBron James eating Frosted Flakes today, you know? So I kind of feel like that. Overrated or underrated? Watching multiple people with millions of dollars in their bank accounts have beef.
I'll say like right now in the current scene, it's kind of overrated. It feels like influencer boxing right now.
Dude, yes. For anybody living under a rock, I feel like we just have to say it for context. We're talking about the, quote, 20 versus 1 Drake situation. You know, Drake versus Kendrick and Metro and Future and Rick Ross and J. Cole and
A$AP Rocky
and Kanye West. And like, what? Like, I agree with you. Influencer boxing is definitely the same kind of energy as that. Because it's like, as somebody, you know, I in certain senses of the word, I feel like I am a hip-hop purist or hip-hop traditionalist. And I like beef. I like rappers not liking each other. You know, it's entertaining. It's part of, like, the game. But this is, like, so weak to me. Because all of these people who are fighting are, like, so hyper famous and hyper popular already. I'm like, what are we fucking talking about here? What are we fighting for? And it's kind of like influencer boxing, man. It's like y'all already got all this money. You're just bored and you don't like how somebody's talking about you on the internet. I don't know, man. Like, what do you think? What do you think?
I don't know. I think like unless there's actual beef, which I don't think there is, like at the end of the day, they're all pretty well connected with each other. Mm-hmm. I don't really see, like, the point. I mean, obviously, it's nice to have, like, that competitive edge and, like, bring that to hip-hop.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. I think at some points it can be corny. The one that I'm looking at right now, though, the Offset and Chris Brown one, that's been...
Quavo and Chris Brown, right? Yeah, Chris Brown just, man, I don't even want to give that guy any airtime, but, like, some of those, I just saw like the lyrics on Twitter and I was just like, God damn, man. Yeah. See, and that seems like some real personal low down shit where the other beef, like Drake and them are just like, I'm richer than you and like I haven't liked you for a few years now. And like, you know, Drake is kind of taking it as a sport. I think Drake's taking it more serious than anybody else, and I'm kind of over it. when Drake and Kanye were having their original beef like 2 years ago, even that was like, all right, man, fucking which narcissist loves themselves more? You know, this all feels very, very look at me. Whatever, it'll be fun. We'll get some fun diss records out of it. Okay, that's it. That's all we want to talk about. You know, I don't know if there's been enough media coverage on that already or not. You know, just want to throw our 2 cents in there. Okay, let's move on to this one because I think this one's actually kind of funny. Overrated or underrated? Rappers performing at non-rap festivals, for example, Coachella.
I would have to say underrated on that one. I feel like it creates for some very funny and confusing looks from like those pop crowds. But I don't know. It's always fun to see what they don't expect. Obviously, with the Cardi situation after the Miley Cyrus concert, and more recently, you know, the Lana situation with the
Ken Carson.
Yeah,
it's all opium,
very opium.
Originated. You know, I think it's also underrated, but I want to make my case for why this could be a little overrated, though. Because to me, to your point, the video of the Lana Del Rey fans who are like fighting for their life at Ken Carson's set, because Ken Carson is performing, I guess, on the same stage as Lana Del Rey, just like 6 hours before her in the day or whatever. Like when you are performing on a stage, and let's say by the looks of that Coachella stage, let's just call it like 20,000 people could be in that big tent, and like 15,000 of them are at minimum 15,000 of them are not there for Ken Carson, maybe don't know who Ken Carson is, and they just want to see their hero, Lana Del Rey. It's like, would you like that audience because it's more people, or would you rather like perform at like a Rolling Loud, a Governor's Ball, something along those lines that's a little bit more geared towards hip hop, and have 10,000 fans who really know what's going on and what's really happening? Because I kind of think I would rather have that audience, personally.
Yeah, I definitely think I'd rather have that audience, too. I feel like that's how you get those, like, iconic moments, like the DMX show. Like, obviously, you can't touch that one, but, like, I feel like that's how you get those moments, like, where you see the whole crowd, just like a wave of people jumping versus, like, pockets of people jumping.
Yeah, because when you see the videos of those crowds, like of Ken Carson's crowd, it's like there are pockets. There's, like, the one pocket up front who's like who loves Ken Carson and they're there for him, and then a bunch of Lana Del Rey fans like it's like, what the fuck's going on here? Why are there so many teenage boys fighting each other all of a sudden? What's going on? Although overall, I will say I think it's probably underrated for what you're saying, for like these funny moments, for expanding the artist's range and their reach. It's probably underrated, but sometimes, though, like in the Miley Cyrus fans and the Cardi Lollapalooza crowd, like those poor girls did not know that there was just going to be a bunch of primal dudes just going for it.
Primal 14 to 15-year-old opium fans.
Yeah, exactly. And God, it has to smell so bad.
Oh, it
has to smell.
I know it smells crazy in there.
Okay, let's go underrated. I'll take the underrated on that. Okay. This next one, I have personal beef with this one already. Overrated or underrated? Artists leaking songs with streamers.
I think it's super overrated. Just right now, everyone's trying to get on like the streamer wave and like catching these moments on live because like, you know, it's hot right now. Mm-hmm. It's like, why not try to like throw anything through the wall and like see what sticks? Which
makes sense. I have beef with it because I feel like it's not leaking. You're not leaking a song. You are premiering a song. Back in the old days of 2012 or something, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, artists would, or even longer before that, artists would give their songs to radio DJs or the video DJs, on like MTV and VH1, blah, 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 to premiere their song. It was an exclusive premiere. That's what this is. You're not leaking a song if you're just giving it to somebody who has millions of followers or millions of views, you know? Like, leaking is when people crack fucking Cardi's hard drive open and upload a zip file of 47 songs or whatever. Like, so I think it's overrated because it's not leaking. This term has just been like fucked up. Yeah, overrated. That's my rant. That's my rant on it. I feel like that was the actual origin point of this episode. It was like,
Yeah.
all the like in the midst of the beef, in the midst of like Ice Spice leaking her song to academics, I'm like, bro, what are we talking about? Like, you're just giving people songs. But it is like the new radio in a way, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like they're kind of going off the leaks because leak is like a buzzword at this point right now. Like, everybody's looking for, new Drake leak, new Ice Spice leak. Like, having a leak out there, it's like the new, like, there's a sneaky hit coming, like, or like, there's this person's like gearing up for a rollout for their album with this leak. Like, leaks are exciting to people right now. So I feel like using like that term loosely, like, people are just trying to get all their hits that they can or all their views that they can, for sure.
Agreed. That was such a good point. I can't even add anything else to that. Okay, overrated. We're calling
Overrated.
Fake leaking your songs is overrated. Okay, this next topic is like semi-related to that, semi-related to the beef. AI vocals in all senses, funny or serious. Because, you know, in this latest Drake beef track that he put on Instagram, he does like a Tupac in a Snoop Dogg verse with AI, like AI vocoder or whatever on it. And people are like, surprisingly, I think, like, fucking with it. People are really kind of hyped on it. But there's also the other end of the spectrum where, like, on TikTok you're seeing like Patrick Starr AI vocals singing Fetty Wap songs. So I'm just saying, overall, on this whole spectrum here, AI vocals, overrated or underrated?
I would say perfectly rated because, like, it's got that balance. Like, you got the corniness of like using, I think it's a little bit corny, using like Tupac or Snoop's voice. Like, I think it's a little bit corny, but like using it for like funny or like meme songs, like, obviously it's not going to be too serious. Like, Patrick Starr listening to or singing "Good Kid, in Mad City," like, that's hilarious. Mr. Crab, hilarious.
The whole like SpongeBob like AI rap scene brought me a lot of joy. Sponge boy, get back at the grill. Like, that was such a good moment. I loved that moment. And also, along with these AI vocals, there was also a guy who like leaked. Here goes that word again. Leaked a Kendrick diss track, and then was like, "Actually, I made it with AI vocals." And it's like, if you're really attuned to these artists, I think you can kind of tell. Like, when I heard that Kendrick one, I'm like, it kind of sounds like somebody doing a Kendrick Lamar impression. I'm like, I don't know about this. And I think in that sense, it's kind of dangerous and way overrated to like be trying to do impressions of artists, and not just any artists, but like highly heralded and listened to and popular artists. I think that's horrible. But on the other end of it, though, I do love hearing Mr. Krabs rap. Or for a minute, there was all those meme videos of like Joe Biden and Donald Trump playing like video games together and arguing. And I'm like, this is hilarious, but you could really, really spread some misinformation with all this, you know? So I'm gonna call it overrated. I'm gonna call it overrated, but I like your take of perfectly rated, though. If you were gonna make an AI parody song, like an AI voice parody song, whose voice would you go with?
That's a great question. I'm gonna go with Chris Christie.
Whoa, that was so random. I was really not expecting. What was he, the governor of New Jersey?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He looked great doing it too.
I think along your lines, I think doing like a Bernie Sanders like Chief Keef AI song, I think would be really funny. That's that shit I don't like. I gotta work on my Bernie. I don't have a good Bernie right now.
That's a hit though. You gotta coin that before someone takes it.
Cardi B is right. You a goofy, you a op.
Bernie versus Ice Spice. That'd be crazy.
You think you the shit, bitch. You're not even the thought. Oh, I'm getting there. Hold on, I'm getting there. Let me do that one again. You think you're the shit, bitch. You're not even the thought. All right. Y'all are welcome for that one. Okay. Next topic here. Overrated or underrated? The term speedrunning the underground. This is another buzzword that we've been seeing a lot recently in the wave of Ian and LaserDim 700. And I actually don't necessarily disagree with them speedrunning the underground. Like, they definitely got really popular. Both of them got really popular in what feels like the same month time, basically. But I'm curious, before I go off on my point, what do you think? Overrated or underrated?
I'm gonna say a little bit overrated, just because I feel like there's so many levels to the underground at this point. It's like speedrunning the underground. It just feels like there's so many different points of the underground that you have to go through to break through. I just feel like it's kind of just like you said, one of those buzzwords that are being thrown around right now. It's just I don't know, cool and good artist development, I guess. Yeah,
because true, I do think it is actually a term of endearment in a way, whereas when somebody's called an industry plant, that's definitely a negative term, like a derogatory term. So I would say this is I've never thought about this until right now. This is the flip side of the industry plant. Is we're oh, this is a guy who made it out on his own and he's just gone up. It's like the Four Bats thing versus Ian. People are I don't believe this, Four Bats. You got a Drake feature. I think there's talks about his manager having some connections, yada yada, and everybody's just boo, we don't like that. And then Ian makes a few good songs, and they're oh wow,
having dinner with his family.
Yeah. But to be fair, I do think he is really authentic and really has done it. I agree with you. I think it's overrated as well, in the sense because of what you're saying. It's there's so many levels to the underground. Okay, they have speed run the underground. What does that mean? They have 100K monthly listeners. They have 1 million monthly listeners. What happens when you speedrun it? Are they done? Do they now sign a major label and make songs with Maroon 5? What is? I don't really understand what it means. I think maybe perhaps looking upon myself, maybe have contributed to some of this, but I think in the underground, in this kind of niche that we're in. The underground, people want to put really hard limiters and bookends on it, whereas I think the underground's really kind of more like a cloud. It's they're underground still. When Yeet was really blowing up, and people were "Oh, Yeet's mainstream now. Yeet's mainstream." I'm is he really, or is he just kind of at the upper echelon of the underground that we're calling it? I think we're seeing a similar thing again with this. So I'm gonna say overrated on that.
Maybe speedrunning the underground, maybe that's just the friends that we made along the way.
I need that after Neal says that. I need that music that's I think that's that fucking Ed Sheeran song we heard in the Chinese buffet yesterday. Oh my god, that's funny as hell. Ed Sheeran, I hope you're watching the pod. Come on the pod anytime you want, man. All right, I have one more topic, and I think this is a good one to end on. And another one that I kind of have a stance on as well. But I'll let you go first. Overrated or underrated? The phrase, quote, hip-hop is dead.
So overrated.
So overrated.
Music is in a great spot. The internet's just so far advanced. We have Discord servers where people are cooking up actual songs that are going to be hits on Discord. Like, they're not in a studio, they're not linking at all on Discord. Music is so vast right now. Like, people that only want like the lyrical, spiritual, like you got a whole side of that. If you want something in between, you got the Ben Rileys, the Marco Pluses, or if you want people like Ian, it's like not oversaturated, but I feel like each pocket of music just has like good saturation at this point. It's just like the hard part is just finding the artist that you want to listen to.
I think that's a great point. I also agree, overrated. The term hip hop is dead has been prevalent like way before we were even doing this. Like, I think Nas has a fucking album called like Hip Hop is Dead or like The Death of Hip Hop or some shit like that from like early 2000s, you know. But I'm just thinking, I was kind of thinking about this, and I feel like this time last year, people were saying hip hop is dead. Like, there wasn't a lot of good albums coming out. Like, we were kind of on the heels of like the Drake album and Travis Scott album and yada yada. And people are saying hip hop is dead. Hip hop is dead. And now look at this fucking beef that we're in. Look at all these underground artists coming up. Look at Ken Carson performing at Coachella. You know, like, it is definitely alive and thriving. It just looks a lot different than it used to, even like 7 years ago, honestly. I was going to say like 10, 15 years ago, but even 5 years ago, hip hop looks a lot different now than it did then. And I think that's usually when people, and really we can relate this to not just music, but something else that we both like, basketball. Oh, yeah. Like when Steph Curry and all them, you know, when the Warriors start shooting 3-pointers and they're like, this game is dead. They've ruined the game of basketball and blah, 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 blah. It's like, they didn't ruin it. Like, you could still have people who are 7 feet tall on your team. Like, it's okay, but it's just different, and it has evolved, and it's evolving really fast too. So I agree, overrated as fuck. Anybody who thinks hip hop is dead needs to look more. They need to look further into it, because there's enough out there for everybody. All right, man. That's the last topic I had. You got anything you want to freestyle off the top of your dome? Overrated, underrated? How you feeling?
Chicken on a stick at China Buffet. Underrated.
Let's do like 2 minutes on the China Buffet real quick. If anybody's made it this far, you sit through this for a second. Chicken on a stick, best thing at the China Buffet.
Easily.
Crab Rangoon. I ate like 5 yesterday. I could have eaten 25, I think, but I didn't want to fuck myself up on that. The rice, they had the good like yellow rice there. Rice. That shit was delicious.
Got a little bit of turmeric in there, balance off your stomach a little bit.
They got the ice cream with the scooper in hot water. That motherfucker through the ice cream, man. I was a little, you know, I thought the China Buffet was overrated. I thought it was before I went yesterday. Underrated as fuck, bro. It's like $15. I got like 4 plates, dessert. You know, you pay for it on the back end, but you know, we're not going to talk about that. But
Don't
you know,
need to.
I'm going to say the China Buffet underrated, man.
For sure underrated. I know Rocco loved it in his 7 lemons.
God. I'm not even going to say how Rocco ate these lemons yesterday. That was the craziest shit I ever seen, bro. I couldn't believe it. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching and listening. Comment every villain is lemons. Follow us on Instagram at Soul Serum, at Soul Serum TV. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You need studio space at Soul Serum Studios. Motherfucking goddamn Friendster, Live Journal. Hit us up on AOL, AIM chat. You know what I'm saying? Neal, thank you for doing the podcast with me today.
Of course.
And as always, thank you all for listening. I am your host, Clay Boney.
I am your co-host, Neal.
And we'll see y'all next time. Deuces.